Welcome aboard, folks. I'm Steven Malkowich, your captain on this adventure called Ship of Fools. I'm a fool. Lucky for you, I'm not sailing solo. Join me and a boatload of people, all just trying to make sense of this crazy world. It's a fabulous mess, and you're invited. Welcome, Alex Alegria. Did I say it properly?
Perfecto. Gracias.
Perfect.
Gracias. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good to see you, my friend.
My friend, thank you. Thank you so much for the invite.
Alex, welcome to the Ship of Fools, where wit meets wisdom. And the beauty of this podcast is that I get to talk to people that I find interesting. Everyone has a story to tell.
Thank you, Steven.
And you certainly do, Alex. So I get you. There's when I mention your name to a couple of people, they immediately went, "Oh," and Edwin in our studio here was one of them, and a few other people. And you're a legend of sorts.
I'm not sure about that, but I am.
So let's start off here with you are obviously you came to my attention through a friend, but you are what would you say you are primarily? You're a musician.
Yes, I'm a musician. I don't know how to say it, but I'm a homemade musician.
Okay.
Homemade because I didn't have the opportunity when I was younger to go to school for music. So that's what I'm saying, homemade musician, because everything I learned, it was just by ear.
So you had no formal training?
I have no formal training. Even as a mariachi, you might see me right now as a mariachi, but in Mexico, I was not a mariachi. I became a mariachi here. So I'm 100% Canadian mariachi because everything I have done, I've learned it here on the streets. So like a busker, but in mariachi style. So
okay, so let's go back to your early life here.
Yes.
And you come from Mexico.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, and what part of Mexico were you from?
Yes, my town is Tuxtepec. The state is Oaxaca, which is South Mexico.
Okay.
It's a very beautiful state, very traditional state. A lot of indigenous language is spoken in Oaxaca. Mm-hmm. And funny thing to mention is that when I was little, my first language wasn't Spanish. It was actually a native language called Chinanteco.
Okay.
And I learned to speak Spanish when I was about 6. And unfortunately, I forgot my native language because kids were making fun of me back then. And yeah, but I don't know, just recall this experience.
So then you what did your family, what were you doing, what did your family do in Mexico?
In Mexico, yes, my family, some of them are teachers in schools. Some of them are like business people. They have their own business into commerce. But mostly is either having their own business or growing, like farmers as well.
Okay.
Like I remember when I was little, we used to grow tomatoes, peppers, corn. So we know a little bit about that.
A little bit about
a little bit about ranch life.
So
horse, stuff like that.
So you come to Canada.
That's correct. Yes.
What year did you come to Canada?
I came to Canada in November 24th. Like tomorrow, it's going to be my anniversary day. November 24th, 1986.
1986. 1996.
That's correct.
So 10 years after, over 10 years after Expo. But what brought you to Vancouver?
The things that are from my state in Oaxaca, this is the thing. I live in this small town, and I see that everybody's doing the same thing all the time. And I was little, I was very young, but somehow I had this kind of vision. I see my uncles, I see my parents, I see my friends, and some older people. I always look up to for older people, and I noticed that they were either going to their work and going home, going to their work and going home, going to the factory and going home, going to teach and go back home. And I was thinking there should be, maybe there is something else. Maybe there is something different. Maybe there's people from other countries. Maybe there's people who speak different languages. And I was kind of curious. And then one day I was watching TV, and there used to be this amazing festival that unfortunately is not happening anymore. But this festival was running for many years in Mexico. It was one of the biggest and greatest festivals that we ever had in the country. It was called Acapulco Festival, which was made in Acapulco. And as you know, Acapulco was the lead tourism destination for 50 years in a row worldwide. So when I saw this festival was run for almost 2 weeks with shows, with free shows and shows in theaters and events. And at that festival, you could have participants from all over the globe and many national and international performers. So when I was watching this festival on TV, opened my eyes and I was thinking, oh my God, there is so much to see. And I said, I have to be in Acapulco. So I had to make any excuse, but I have to move to Acapulco. And Acapulco is a tourist destination. So I managed to convince my mom that I wanted to study tourism because that was my mission. And I was telling her, I like to meet new people. I like to learn another language. I like to work in the hotel industry and the restaurant business. And I think this town is too little for me. Not with these words, but idea, right? So somehow I managed to convince first my grandma, because she's the boss. She was the boss. She's not with us anymore. But once I convinced my grandma, she convinced everybody. And my grandma had a family member in Acapulco, and she managed to accommodate everything.
How old were you?
I was about 16.
16 years old?
Yes. And then so I applied for this university in Acapulco and I was accepted. And I moved to Acapulco to study tourism.
To study tourism?
Yes. And then when I was in Acapulco, I managed to work for through the Department of Tourism in the City Hall. Because I was studying tourism, they give you the opportunity to have these opportunities to work in different hotel industry, restaurants. You have this ID, and they give you opportunities to have experience. So I had this opportunity to work at the festival that I enjoy watching on TV. So I got to meet a lot of people from different countries, and I was so happy because that was my original intention. Back then, I couldn't speak English, only Spanish, but I was so happy that I had the opportunity to meet people from different countries. And they were always telling me, oh, you should go to France, you should go to Italy, you should go to Canada, and you'll meet a lot of new people, you'll learn so much. And every time I had the opportunity to speak with someone, my ideas were growing and my dreams were growing as well. And I always, since I was very little, I always had this passion for Canada. Maybe because I'm a musician. Sometimes I do things by ear. When I hear something, and if I like how it sounds, I go, it must be good. For example, the word Acapulco, it sounds very beautiful. And for me, it resonates really nice. So I had to move to Acapulco. But the word Canada in Spanish is Canada. And it sounds beautiful. So I always have this tendency for Canada. What is Canada? When I was very little, I didn't even know that Canada was a country back then. But for example, I'll give you an example. When I was very little, in Mexico, there was this company, a shoe factory called Canada Shoes. I always tell my man that I want my shoes from Canada because it sounds beautiful, right? I didn't care about the shoes. I just wanted my shoes to say Canada. And when I started to grow, when I went to school for tourism, I learned that Canada was a country, a beautiful country. And right before, when I was almost ending my studies, I had to do this project about a touristic destination that didn't belong to Mexico. So we can learn from other countries to get different ideas. And you might know which country I chose.
You chose Canada.
Yeah, normally people, they go like, oh, I want to go to the States or I got to go to Europe. But my mind was different. And I chose 2 cities. I chose Montreal and I chose Vancouver. I look at the map, like Canada, and then I went through different cities trying to see which city could be the most tourist destination. And I found those 2. I also found Toronto, but I noticed that Toronto, back then, in my mind, it was a big city, more than a tourist destination. And according to my project, I needed a tourist destination. But then I was thinking, if I live there, how would my life be? And then I found out like Montreal was very cool. Mm-hmm. Being from Acapulco, being in Acapulco, I was like, Montreal, maybe not, maybe Vancouver. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason I came here because then after I moved to Vancouver to continue my studies in tourism.
In 1996.
That's correct.
So in 1996, you come to Vancouver, and you said that we are taping this episode here. It's November 23rd.
That's
correct. And November 24th will be your anniversary because that's when you arrived.
That's correct. That's correct.
How was the weather when you got off the plane?
Just like it is right now. It was like it is now. It was dark. It was raining, but I was so happy.
Mm-hmm.
I was so happy because I had a dream before I came here, and I had a dream that I was arriving, and that there was a friend waiting for me, and the weather was like this. And when I came out of the airport, the weather was like this, and my friend was dressed as I was in the dream. So maybe it was meant to happen. You know, I don't know.
So you come.
Life is crazy.
Yeah, that's right. There's no real explanation for a lot of things that happen to us in our life. So you arrive here in 1996, and you came. Did you had a job lined up, or you had study lined up?
Studies.
Yeah. So okay.
So I went to school. I had a scholarship for school for playing to learn English.
Okay.
And then to continue my tourism school.
Uh-huh.
And then I got this other school. This is scholarship for playing soccer. Funny thing that in Mexico, I never played soccer in Mexico, but in here I was a star. So I was like, okay, sure. If you give me a scholarship, I'm a star. So I got this scholarship, and that helped me a lot.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, then I finished my schooling, and I started working in the tourism industry,
Mm-hmm.
which I enjoyed a lot. But when I was working in a restaurant, I noticed that people pay a lot of attention when I was singing. And I was singing just for fun.
You would so in the restaurant, you would just
Sing a song for fun. And then the manager was like, you know what, you should go to that table and sing a song. And I went to that table, and people give me a tip. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And back then, one thing that, before I forget, when I first came to the country, I only had $500. And the first thing I did is to buy a guitar. I was thinking, I'm going to buy a guitar because you never know, right?
But you had never. But had you played? You hadn't played any instrument when you were
doing guitar in Mexico.
Okay,
very little, very basic.
Okay,
and just for fun with friends.
Uh-huh.
But
you had limited money, and you went out and you bought a guitar.
I bought a guitar just in case something happens. I can go on the street and play, and you never know what happens, right? So I had my guitar. Was my first, my best investment when I came to the country. So when I was in this restaurant, sometimes I was singing, but I wasn't playing guitar, just singing, just cappella. And I noticed that people liked. But for me, it wasn't a big deal. I just did it for fun. But then someone hired me, and they said, oh, you should go to a church and sing a couple of songs. But back then, I still didn't have the idea of being a mariachi. So I went to this church, and I sang a couple of songs a cappella. And then another church hired me, and then another. And then another friend gave me this idea. You should buy these karaoke tracks. Instead of singing just cappella, you have a company background music. So I did that for a few months. And then I was thinking maybe I should play the karaoke music and play my guitar on top of the karaoke. And that's how I started to play in different places. Sometimes birthday parties, sometimes restaurants. Only 1 or 2 songs. It wasn't a big repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
But up to that point, it was just music that I like. It wasn't nothing related to mariachi up to that point.
And you are 100% self-taught on the guitar.
Yes.
So you just taught yourself. And this I'm trying to think of 1996. Was there YouTube that you could go and watch to play the guitar?
No. When I see someone who just arrived to the country, like new kids, they arrive to the country and they complain, I just tell me, oh, you're so lucky. You have GPS. You have a telephone.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came to the country, I got lost in Surrey. You know. In Surrey, the blocks are so huge. It was snowing.
I've been lost in Surrey.
I only have 25 cents. And this lady gave me a note. She invited me for lunch at 11 in the morning. I arrived at 7 p.m. It was raining and it was snowing. And I lost my penny, my 25 cents. This freaking machine ate my 25 cents, and I got lost. And you have GPS, you have telephone, you have YouTube, and you complain. Come on. So nobody can complain these days, right?
Well, before one of the things I want to bring up is, Alex, you have the most wonderful message when you leave a message with you. And it actually, and you explained that to me, but I listened to it and I played it for my wife too, and it made me laugh. It made me feel good. Explain that the why you do that.
Well, my name is Alex Alegria. Alegria means happiness. So, before I forget, when I was in English school, one time the teacher was trying to explain the backgrounds of every single last name. And he put this example, right? For example, my great-grandfather was John Carpenter. And back then, he was a carpenter. So everybody was like, oh, John the carpenter. Yes, John Carpenter. So that became his last name. And then every student had to go up and explain their name. So when we went up, I was like, my name is Alex Alegria. So maybe my great-grandfather was a clown because Alegria was happiness. So I was thinking, maybe if someone has a bad day, if someone is a little bit depressed or something, when they listen to my message, they're gonna be happy. So
and that's the truth. That is the truth.
Gotta be a little
It just makes you feel good.
Why not? Right? Why not?
That's very cool. That's very cool. So you've come now. You're in Canada, and you went to school. You were playing soccer, and you're in a restaurant singing, and then you pick up the guitar, and you start getting, we can call them gigs. Like, people are saying, "Hey, listen, come on," and you've got your background tracks that with the karaoke machine. How does that evolve into founding your group, your band now? How does that evolve into Mariachi?
Oh, okay. Well, up to that point, I remember first it was for free. Like I was doing this for fun and for free. Like I wasn't charging nothing. But then I had a friend who had this business mentality. He was telling me, no, you should charge. But I was like, why should I charge? I don't even know the songs, right? I was just doing like my thing. And one day, I remember when I was in Mexico, one of my uncles, he told me, when you leave the country, you become more Mexican. And he gave me one of these outfits. And after I worked in many different jobs related to tourism, you don't make much money in tourism unless you are the owner.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's different, right? So I had to work in a different company, but it was a company that I didn't enjoy. So my job wasn't very happy. And I was working very hard. It was a very hard job. It was almost like construction. It was a factory. And I was working from very early morning to kind of late in the afternoon. And I remember that when I was going to the factory, it was dark. And when I was getting out of the factory, it was dark because it was like a warehouse. And I was thinking, this is no life. It's like I felt like Batman. Every time it's dark. And I come from a place that is sunny. In Mexico, if you go to Mexico, everybody's happy. Maybe because of the sun, or maybe because we are like that, I don't know. But it was affecting me. And I noticed that at this place, people were not happy as well. And I was like, I shouldn't continue. I have to stop this. I have to do something. And I was getting very depressed and I was getting worried. And then I remember what my uncle told me. And that day, I just put my feet down and I remembered I play guitar. I should do something. So I was like, why did I buy my guitar? I have to go to the street. Because I was thinking, if I ever need money, I go to the street. I didn't need the money because I was making good money at that factory, but I was not enjoying it. It was very depressing place. So I went to Robson Street. You know where the art gallery is?
Mm-hmm.
On the steps. So I started playing, not in that corner. I was playing right in the corner of Granville and Robson, originally. I just stopped there and I started playing my guitar. And the first time I was there, I was scared because I didn't see nobody there. And a police showed up. And he had this big voice. He was like, do you have a permit? And I just looked at him and I said, yes, my grandma told me I can play until 11. And he was laughing just like you. And I I think that he assumed that I had a permit. I didn't know that we need a permit. In Mexico, you don't need permits for nothing.
Yeah.
You just do things, right? So next day, he saw me again, and he told me, you're in the wrong place. You should go to that corner where the steps are. You'll make more money there. To that point, I was not doing that for money. I just needed to do something. So I went to the steps on the library square, and I was playing from 6 p.m. to 11:30, 11 p.m. every day, like religiously. And it made me feel so good. It made me feel amazing. So I was dressed like this with a different outfit, of course. Mm-hmm. I was not singing in Spanish. I had a hat and had my guitar. I was just singing my own songs, and I was singing popular songs, but no mariachi music. I didn't know, not even one mariachi song. But I was feeling really good. It was very fulfilling. And then, eventually, because I was there every single day, rain or shine, I was there every single day. People started to notice. Eventually, I have 2, 3 as audience, and then people started to throw money to my guitar case.
Yeah, our guitar case.
And I was not doing that for the money as well. But then after a few months, I met this guy who played violin. And he told me that he played for the orchestra, and he's saying that the mariachis have violins. Can I play with you? Well, sure. And then he goes, I have another friend as well. Sure. Then we were 2, then we were 3, then we were 4.
Now it's coming.
It's
coming together.
It's coming together.
I seen pictures of your mariachi band. Like, it's multi-ethnic group in the mariachi band, and it made me laugh. I was going, how would you pull that off? Well, the orchestra.
Yeah.
That's the connection.
That's the connection. You know what? I always say that what happened to me, 2 things. It's been like a beautiful accident, but also a thing that I found my purpose in life. Every human being has a purpose in life. And it would be very sad if we go out of this life without fulfilling your purpose. And I think I found my purpose because when I go to an event, every event is a particular experience, a particular story. And sometimes, not all the events are parties. Not all the events are celebrations. Some celebrations are sad celebrations. So when you show up there and you bring this music, you bring memories to this particular event. For example, let's say that someone died, and this person was from Mexico or Latin America, and for them, this music is very important. So when you show up and you play a song that this person used to like, you bring for the family, it's comforting, right? Mm-hmm. So when I see that, or when we go to the hospital, music makes miracles. I could tell you some amazing stories, like some people who were kind of out, they come back and they sing, and then they are gone, and you go like, wow, this is a miracle. I think this is a beautiful accident that happened to me, and I think it was meant to happen to me. An accident because I didn't. It wasn't my idea.
Wasn't your plan?
It wasn't my plan to create a mariachi band. Mm-hmm. I never played mariachi in Mexico. I have played in Mexico with this mariachi group in different states, but with this group. Representing the country, representing Canada. This is the Canadian mariachi, right? But in Mexico, I have never played mariachi with another group, like not even as a guest, right? And in the States, we have played as well, but always as a group, always with this group. And in Mexico, when I was in Mexico before, I sang a few songs, but different style, not mariachi. So the mariachi thing, for me, it was an accident. It was born here in Vancouver, on the streets in Vancouver, on Robson Square, to be specifically. And that's the reason I always say this is 100% Canadian mariachi. Because, I mean, there are some other mariachis in the country, in other cities in the country, but these mariachis, they were mariachis in Mexico. So they are Mexicans who already play mariachi music in Mexico, and they came here and they were like, oh, why don't we put together a group? which is valid. And they are really good. I mean, that's pretty cool. But in my case, I didn't look for it. The music looked for me.
Found you?
The music found me. And I'm extremely happy. It has opened so many doors for me, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
And what's the name of your band, your mariachi band?
The group is called Los Dorados. Los Dorados has two meanings. The literal meaning is the golden boys, gold all around. So all my outfits should have gold, right?
Make sure we get it. We get a good shot.
Good shot of this.
That is that's spectacular. You are what to me epitomizes what Canada is. Your story.
Thank you. And you know what? I'm extremely happy to call myself Canadian. I'm extremely happy to have this blessing opportunity to be here, because Canada is an amazing country. I think sometimes we don't get that. Sometimes we forget of all the good things that we have in here. For example, I got to sing, and I'm very appreciative that we have this opportunity to perform for everyone, people from different backgrounds. But even if it was just for people who was born here or people who has been here for many generations, just to have the opportunity to have this freedom to be who you are without judging, that is amazing. Not everybody has this opportunity, especially in these times, you know? So, and now because we're living these times in this year with these neighbors that we have, so I'm extremely blessed, and I'm extremely happy and appreciative, and I love it even more. The country, Canada, the mariachi, which is what I do. This is two things that I can tell you that three things that I can tell you that I'm extremely proud. One, that I was born and raised in Mexico, and it's my heritage, and I will die as a Mexican. Another that is extremely important for me, maybe my biggest achievement ever, when I became citizen, I will never forget that, and when I will keep that forever in my life. It's my biggest achievement. And the third one, my passion with this mariachi music.
And you do, when I say you epitomize it, that Canada, in my travels, I've been to every state in the United States, and every province in Canada too. But one of the things that I used to hold very dear to myself was that the difference between Canada and the United States is that we are a cultural mosaic. You're encouraged to celebrate your heritage. You are. But you're a Canadian, okay? But you're a Canadian. The United States, and there was always a line for me, is a cultural melting pot, where not so much there. You're an American first, always. It doesn't, you swear allegiance to the flag, all these kinds of things. Now, you can still celebrate your heritage, but not the same way in Canada. And we don't judge. Like I'll say this, and I'm not, as long as your heritage doesn't involve, violence or whatever, those kinds of things. But we encourage that. And I'm Ukrainian. And I grew up on both sides, my mother and my father. And my grandparents came from the Ukraine. And there's a festival in Winnipeg called Folklorama. And it was special to me because you got every pavilion. There was a pavilion for every heritage and it was, you got a taste of their food, their music, all those kinds of things. And that's where I was brought up on that stuff.
But isn't that amazing?
It
you
is.
get the opportunity to learn to learn from every single culture. And that's the vision that I had when I was little. When I was mentioned that my town seems to be very small for me. Maybe I had bigger ambitions, but I was thinking there should be something else. For example, in here, if you want to have Chinese food, you go to the corner. You want to have Ukrainian food, you want to have Japanese food, or you want to see something different, dances, music, movies. And that's amazing. And the country is beautiful itself as a nation and everything, but also this melting pot makes us unique. And I'm extremely happy.
Oh, that's so. Now you're you've been doing this for, I was just doing the math in my head, for almost 30 years.
Sometime,
You've been in some form. Yeah, but in some form.
In some form. I mean, on my own, I started since I arrived here. I always play music, but as I mentioned, I was in the mariachi, right?
Mm-hmm.
The group, I consider that the group became a group after we got our first paid gig. And so we were on the street busking.
Like how many of you were busking?
Five. Up to that point, we were five. And every single day. And these guys were very disciplined all the time. I arrived there and they are already there. I was the only one with the outfit. So I told the rest of the guys, at least get some black pants and white shirt. So we look like a team, I mean, you won't look like me because it's going to be a little bit difficult. What can I say? But at least we look like a team. And up to that point, we didn't rehearse. Up to that point, we don't know one song properly structured. They just follow me and they do whatever they want and I do whatever I want because we didn't know. And up to that point, we didn't play not even one mariachi song. Nothing. So one day, I see this guy coming from very far. And when I saw his face, I was like, oh my God, troublemaker. Because when he saw me, he got so excited. He was like, oh my God, mariachi. He yelled out, right? I was like, oh no, trouble. So he ran up to me and he goes like, you're a mariachi? I was like, yeah. He says, I need to hire you. Sure, why not? Tell me, what do you want me to do? We're going to have this event. It's a Cinco de Mayo celebration.
Okay, yeah.
And I only have a couple of requests from you. Actually, 3 requests from you. He was like, sure, tell me. First request, you guys are 5. I need 7. And they have to dress at least closer, like to what you have, right? Hat and jacket. That's the first request. Second request, you have to start with this song called Guadalajara. Start with that song and finish with that song for 1 hour. In between, I don't care what you play, but you start with that song and you finish with that song. And yeah, the first request, 7, the dress and the song. That was the only 3 requests. Can you do that? I was like, of course I can do that. Now I have 3 requests for you. I was like, what are your requests? First, you have to pay me half of what I'm going to ask you. Second, we're going to sign a contract. If you sign the contract with me, then we do the deal. And he accepted. And there was a guy selling hot dogs beside us. So he gave us a napkin. So our first contract was a napkin. And that was our first deal.
So, but you had to go out and find 2 other musicians.
Oh, but I have the other guys, right?
Okay.
So I told him, another guy who plays trumpet, another guy who plays violin. And that's how we accomplished to have the 7.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of times I get in trouble because when people call me for gigs, I always say yes. And I don't know if I have enough musicians. I don't know if the musicians are available. I always say yes. But not only for music. When you call me, you said, would you like to come? I said yes. I didn't even know you. I said yes. I'm trying to be positive, right?
Uh-huh.
So sometimes I get in trouble and I go like, why did I say yes?
Well, there's something to be said for that. There is, because you don't know. You really don't know. Like you really don't know where it's going to take you.
But you learn something, right?
That's right.
You learn something. So life is for learning.
That's
for learning. So I suggested this challenge, and guess what? We had a new challenge. We had a reason to rehearse for the first time
ever
with the group, because up to that point, the guitar was playing whatever they want, just doing like tricks on the guitar. The other guy, the violins were doing fills, the trumpet were doing fills, but nothing was a structure. But now I get it. Now I understand. From the first time that I went to play on Robson Street up to this point when this guy hired me he hired me, I don't remember if it was March or April. One of these 2 months in the maybe 17 or 18, March or April, one of those one. So we had like a month to rehearse. But by then I already had been a few months playing on the street, maybe years playing on the street. Some people in all this time went to Mexico. And maybe they thought about me because when they came back, they usually bring me two things. They bring me a candy and a CD. And I would say, yes, thank you. But then I noticed that every CD that I was collecting, like presents, were mariachi CDs. Now I was thinking, oh, this guy doesn't know any mariachi music. He's dressed up as a mariachi, but he doesn't sing mariachi. So let's bring him a CD when we come back home to Canada. So they come and they bring me a candy and a CD.
A subtle tip.
A tip idea. You know what? You could do better. There you go. But up to that point, I didn't know the message. I haven't figured out the message. But then, once we have the motivation and the contract, I remember that in one of those CDs, the song that the guy requested wasn't one of those CDs. So I told my friends, let's go to my apartment and let's rehearse. And then we put the CD on and over again. So that song we learned by ear the first time because I didn't know there was music on paper. I didn't know there was charts. I didn't know nothing. I was blind. And of course, there was no YouTube. There were no tutorials. There were nothing. There were no magazines, especially here. And there was no one here who could help me to learn.
Mariachi?
So, mariachi. So our first challenge was that, to learn that song by ear. And we went to a place, maybe you remember this place you used to call the Purple Onions.
I know where the Purple Onions.
Yeah. And,
was that on 40?
Gastown.
Gastown, okay.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the place for our first gig. May 5th, 2003. And it was an amazing success. And after that event, we haven't stopped.
You just kept on going.
Just kept on going.
And you've added to the group. Now you have, 12 members?
Can be 12, yeah.
Up to 12? Do you normally play, what do you normally play with when you go,
12?
12 all the time?
Let's say when it's 12, it's normally 6 violins, 2 or 3 trumpets, 2 guitars, a little guitar that is called vihuela, which is the rhythmic mariachi guitar, and a bass. And sometimes, if we are lucky, a traditional Mexican harp.
Okay. Now what we are going to do is I would like you to play us a song.
Of course.
You have to play us a song, and we'll take a minute here. I think we can take a second here, and then we can come back and we get you set up here to play a song, and then after the song we'll finish up things.
A question, do you want a mariachi song or you want a...
Oh, of course a mariachi song. Here we go.
Vámonos. La noche es callada, con mucha tristeza, pues sé que mañana tendrás que partir. Te aprieto a mi pecho, te canto en silencio, mis ojos te dicen, me haces falta aquí. Me inspiro en tu cuerpo, te lleno de besos, te digo esos versos que te hacen feliz y busco razones, me invento pretextos para suplicarte te quedes aquí, te aprieto a mi pecho, te canto en silencio, mis ojos repiten, me haces falta aquí. Me inspiro en tu cuerpo, te lleno de besos, repito esos versos que te hacen feliz y busco razones, me invento pretextos para suplicarte
te quedes aquí.
Gracias. And this is a happy song that is about. Oh, the first one is about a little bit of I'm a kind of a nervous. I'm very sad and nervous because I think that tonight you're gonna leave me. I think you're gonna go, but every time I see you, I get inspired. And I'll do whatever it takes to beg you to please stay. Yes.
Okay.
Like that. And this one is about being so proud of being Mexican. I'm proud of my guitar. I'm proud of my horse. I'm proud of my jacket. I'm proud of my heroes in the past, pyramids, heroes in the revolution, singers, composers, my people that is in the States, my people that are everywhere. I'm very proud. I'm proud of the beauty of the country. That's basically.
Yo soy puro mexicano, nací en la tierra del sol y en honor a mis paisanos les dedico esta canción de la hermosa tierra azteca. México lindo señor, nuestro orgullo y nuestra tierra está en el bello tricolor. Es la cuna de los héroes, de los ídolos también. Moctezuma, Juárez, Villa, Pedro Infante y muchos más. Pero sigue siendo el rey José Alfredo y su cantar. Sabes bien que te queremos, tienes lugar especial. A las niñas les llevamos serenata con amor, con mariachi les cantamos antes de que salga el sol. Soy de botas con espuelas, con pistola el cinturón, mi zarape, mi guitarra, mi bandera y mi alazán. Me conocen por ser charro, por valiente y cumplidor, y la envidia me bautiza como macho de lo peor. A las niñas les llevamos serenata con amor, con mariachi les cantamos antes de que salga el sol. A los gringos les mandamos buen tequila y buen mezcal, epazote, hierbabuena, aguardiente, limón y sal, para ver si se atarantan cuando intentamos pasar a la tierra que aún es nuestra, aunque lo quieran negar.
Gracias.
That was fantastic. That was great. Thank you so much for that. That was wonderful, wonderful. And it's the first time that we've done that in the studio here with some live music, which is fantastic.
Amazing.
It is, and thank you so much. I wanted to touch on a couple of things and wrapping things up here, but have you done some acting work too?
I've done some acting.
You've done some acting?
Yes, by accident.
By accident too?
Well, I took some drama lessons when I first came to the country. No, I had already a few years in the country, and I took some drama lessons in school, in an acting school. But then it was funny because when I was doing some play, like for theater, I noticed that people were like happier and clap more when I sing that one. So that's the reason it was pointing me. Oh, you should go for singing instead of acting. Yeah.
In the music.
Yeah, but I have done a little bit of
music.
Yeah.
But you did. There was something that just and I flipped you a note this morning because it came up that you did some. It was I guess I would imagine you're allowed to talk about this. Some amazing race work with Amazing Race.
That's correct,
What happened? What was that?
Well, it was a very, very beautiful experience. The thing is that they wanted us to play mariachi music for the contestants. So we sang a song, like a melody, and they have to kind of replicate our melody. And we were accompanying the contestants, the participants. And whoever sang the best, like their lines, could pass to the next
Level.
the next round.
Uh-huh.
And it was a very fun experience. It was,
And that was just this past summer.
yeah, just like 2-3 months ago.
Okay, so you and you've also before you were talking about, you've been commandeered or asked to play for, sometimes for people that you're not allowed to bring your phones. You're not, because you have they're arguably people that don't want you taking pictures of them and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they take pictures. They take pictures of you. They were like, I don't care. I don't care about you. Like, you take pictures of me. Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Sometimes that happens.
Sometimes that happens.
Some fairly famous people.
Some very famous people.
Very famous.
Sometimes some very rich people. Some
Very rich.
Sometimes people that very.
Very cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, we had some, like I mentioned before, this music has brought me great opportunities, opened so many doors. We have traveled the whole country. In Mexico, we have performed in 7 different states. In US, in 2 different states, including Las Vegas. Here, the whole province, Alberta, BC, Yukon, Ontario, we did a mariachi opera. In Ontario, it was amazing. We had done the Olympics here in Vancouver.
Uh-huh.
We did the Stampede 3 times. We done Cirque du Soleil as well for the opening, for the show Lucia.
Very cool.
We done a lot of great things, and I'm very, very proud.
You should.
We done the Canucks. We done the Whitecaps. We done the World Cup for the rugby. We done the PNE every year.
Are you doing anything? Have you been? Are you allowed to talk? Have you been commandeered at all for FIFA, for the world, for the?
Are you listening? You're listening? Alex Alegria, Los Dorados, coming soon for La FIFA Mundial de Football.
Yeah, for the football that's going.
Hopefully soon.
Oh, that's cool. You know, I'll say it again, Alex, that you represent what Canada is, and and
look at this, amigo. Look at this. Canada.
Canada.
This is a truly Canadian mariachi.
Okay,
That's what we're saying. Instead of geese, Canadian mariachi. This
Canadian mariachi.
And it's funny, because I have some friends in the States, and they were talking about, there was a picture that became viral a few years back of me walking on the snow. And it's funny because out of Canada, in Mexico and in the States and in some other countries where I have friends in Latin America, they don't call me Alex. They call me the Canadian mariachi. And that's very cool. Yeah?
That is very cool. That's very cool. Is there any? I'll say that, like, what you described your life as just it was, a lot of it was instinctual. It just felt right. Everything that you've done and how you've progressed has just I wouldn't say that you've fallen into it. That's the wrong terminology, but it's you're passionate about what you do, and it's quite evident that you are. And when you follow that passion, you don't know where it's going to take you.
That's
right.
That's it.
And I can't stress this enough, though, that you epitomize Canada too. You really do, and I mean that. And in wrapping things up here, give your, if you have a website that if people want to.
Of course. Yeah, we have a website for the group, which is losdoradoscanada.com. For myself, it will be alexalegria.mx.
Perfect. And you epitomize the cultural mosaic as to what Canada is that you come to this country. We accept you with open arms. You're encouraged to celebrate your heritage, but you're a Canadian. And that is so cool. And Alex, thank you so much for coming and singing for us and for taking your time here. It's been wonderful.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, brother.
That's been an amazing experience. Thank you.
Thank you. You may be asking yourself, what's any of this got to do with me? Absolutely nothing. Until next time.